Clean this up. Now. The command cut through the boardroom before anyone could blink. A damp rag slid across the polished table and stopped inches from Ava Johnson's hands. No one spoke. Not the lawyers. Not the board. 40 feet of glass windows reflected the scene back at them, sharp and cold. Ava didn't move right away. Her fingers rested on the edge of the table, still, almost deliberate. The scent of citrus cleaner hung in the air. Too strong. Like someone had tried to erase something fast. Richard Coleman straightened his cuffs, watching her like she was part of the furniture. "You heard me," he added, quieter now, but sharper. A few people shifted in their seats. One man glanced down at his tablet, then back up again. Something felt off, but no one named it. Ava reached for the rag. Slow. Controlled. The fabric made a soft drag against the wood. She wiped once. Then stopped. Just for a second. Her reflection caught in the glass table. Not nervous. Not rushed. That pause lingered longer than it should have. A woman near the end of the table frowned slightly. Ava's sleeve pulled back an inch. A thin silver ring flashed under the overhead light. Subtle. Almost invisible. But it didn't look like something issued with a cleaning uniform. She kept wiping. Small circles. Precise. Too precise. Richard exhaled through his nose. Impatient. "We're on a schedule," he said, tapping a pen against a contract. The sound echoed louder than expected. Tap. 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 Ava's hand slowed again. That same half-second pause. Like she was listening to something no one else could hear. Then she spoke. Calm. Low. "You might want to review page 47 before you sign that." The room didn't react at first. The words just sat there. Out of place. A junior associate let out a short laugh, then quickly stopped. Richard didn't smile. He leaned forward slightly. "Excuse me." Ava didn't look up. She folded the rag once. Neatly. Too neatly. "Page 47, she repeated. Second clause under liability transfer. A chair creaked somewhere behind her. Someone shifted. Papers rustled softly. No one had touched that section in the last 10 minutes. Not out loud, at least. Richard's jaw tightened. "That's not your concern," he said. But his pen didn't move. Not yet. A board member across from him reached for the document. Almost without thinking. His fingers flipped the pages. Slow at first. Then faster. 42. 43. The room grew quieter with each turn. Ava stepped back from the table. Just one step. Giving space. Or taking it. Hard to tell. The man's eyes stopped moving. His brow creased. He leaned closer to the page. "Hold on," he said, barely above a whisper. The word hung in the air like it wasn't supposed to be said. Richard's head snapped toward him. "What?" The man didn't answer right away. His finger traced a line of text. Then another. His posture changed. Subtle, but real. Ava stood still. Hands at her sides now. The rag folded perfectly between her fingers. No one told her to leave. Not yet. The overhead lights hummed faintly. Someone cleared their throat but said nothing after. The silence stretched thin. And then thinner. Richard looked back at the contract. Then at Ava. For the first time, his expression shifted. Not anger. Not yet. Something closer to uncertainty. The man across the table lifted his eyes slowly. And what he was about to say changed everything. The man across the table did not blink. His finger stayed pressed against the page as if the ink might move if he lifted it. "This clause," he said slowly, "it transfers full liability after execution." His voice was steady, but something under it shifted. A low ripple moved through the room. Not loud. Just enough. Richard leaned forward, eyes narrowing. "That is standard language," he replied, but his tone was thinner now. The man shook his head once. "Small. Controlled. No. It is not." He turned the document slightly so others could see. Two board members leaned in at the same time. Their shoulders nearly touched. That did not happen often. One of them adjusted his glasses. The other frowned deeper with each line. Paper whispered as another copy opened. Ava did not move. She stood beside the table, hands relaxed, the folded rag still resting between her fingers. The overhead lights caught that same silver ring again. This time, someone noticed. A woman near. The window glanced at Ava's hand, then back to her face. Something did not match. Richard tapped his pen again, but the rhythm was off. Uneven. "We reviewed this," he said. "Twice." No one answered him. The room had shifted without permission. The man with the document traced a paragraph with his finger. "Slower now. Careful. It looks standard," he admitted, "but the wording changes here." He paused. "Just a beat. If there is any dispute after signing, our company absorbs all legal exposure." A chair creaked sharply. Someone leaned back too fast. Another voice, quieter, added, "and they walk away clean." That word hung there. Clean. It echoed differently now. Ava's eyes lifted slightly. Not to anyone in particular. Just enough to catch the reflection in the glass wall. The skyline outside shimmered in the late afternoon light. Still. Untouched. Inside, the air felt heavier. Richard's jaw flexed. "That interpretation is incorrect," he said, but he did not reach for the pen again. "Not yet." The woman by the window stood up. Slow. Deliberate. "Then explain why it references external arbitration under their jurisdiction," she said. Her tone was calm, but it landed harder than expected. A few heads turned. Not toward Richard this time. Toward the page. Ava shifted her weight slightly. One step back. Almost like she was making room for something to unfold. The man flipped back one page. Then forward again. His movements were quicker now. Less certain. "It is buried," he murmured. "It is subtle." He looked up. "But it is there." Silence followed. Not the polite kind. The kind that stretches too long. Richard finally picked up the document. His fingers tightened along the edge. He scanned the section. Fast at first. Then slower. His eyes stopped. Just for a moment. That moment did not go unnoticed. Ava watched without staring. Her posture stayed neutral. No tension. No urgency. That was the strange part. She did not look like someone hoping to be right. She looked like someone who already knew. The woman near the window crossed her arms. "Who flagged this?" she asked. No one answered. A few glances shifted around the table. Then, almost reluctantly, one of them looked. Toward Ava. Just a glance. Then another. It spread. Quiet. Unspoken. Richard lowered the document. His gaze moved to Ava. "Direct now." "You," he said. Not loud. Not soft. Just enough. Ava met his eyes. Steady. Unmoved. The room held its breath without realizing it. Richard took a step closer to the table. "Where did you see that?" he asked. Ava tilted her head slightly. A small motion. Thoughtful. It is written, she said. You just have to read past what you expect. A few people exchanged looks. Not confusion. Something else. Recognition, maybe. The man with the document leaned back in his chair. Slow. Processing. We almost signed this, he said under his breath. The words barely reached the center of the table, but they did not need to. Everyone heard them anyway. Richard's grip on the paper tightened. Then loosened. He set it down, but not in the same place. Slightly off-center. Like the balance had shifted. Ava glanced once more at the table. Then at the screen behind it. The presentation slide still displayed a clean summary. Simple. Safe. Almost misleading. She looked back at Richard. Not challenging. Not apologizing. Just present. And for the first time, someone at the table realized she had not asked for permission to speak. The silence did not break. It shifted. Like pressure building under glass. Richard's eyes stayed on Ava, searching for something that did not fit. You are not part of this meeting, he said, slower now, each word measured. Ava did not answer right away. Her gaze moved past him for a fraction of a second. Toward the screen. Then back. No, she said quietly. But the contract is. A few heads turned again. Not at her. At the document. The weight of it felt different now. The man with the glasses closed his copy halfway. Not fully. Like he might need it again. We need legal to recheck this, someone muttered. Another voice followed. We already did. That answer did not settle anything. It made it worse. Ava's fingers adjusted the folded rag. One corner aligned perfectly with the other. Precise. Controlled. Richard noticed. It was such a small thing, but it stood out. Nothing about her movements looked rushed. Not even now. He stepped closer. One step. Then another. The distance between them shrank, but the space felt wider. Where did you learn to read contracts like that? He asked. The question came out sharper than he intended. Ava's expression did not change. I read what is in front of me, she said. Simple. Almost too simple. A faint sound came from the far end of the table. A pen dropped. No one picked it up. The woman by the window walked back to her seat, slower this time. Her eyes stayed on Ava longer than before. This is not just a mistake, she said. This is structured. The word landed heavy. Structured meant intentional. The room absorbed that in silence. Richard's jaw tightened again. He looked back at the contract. Then at the people around him. Then back at Ava. Are you suggesting this deal is designed to fail us? He asked. Ava did not blink. I am saying it will, she replied. No emphasis. No drama. Just a statement. A chill passed through the room. Subtle, but real. Someone shifted in their chair again. The leather creaked louder than expected. The man with the document leaned forward. If this holds up, he said, we are exposed the moment we sign. Another board member added, and we would not see it until it is too late. That thought lingered. Too late. Ava's eyes flicked once more to the reflection in the glass wall. The skyline had not changed. But inside, everything had. Richard placed both hands on the table. Firm. Grounding himself. We are not making decisions based on speculation, he said. His voice regained some control. But not all. Ava tilted her head slightly. That same thoughtful motion. Then verify it, she said. A pause followed. Not long. But enough. Enough for doubt to settle in places it had not been before. The woman by the window nodded once. "We should pause the signing," she said. That sentence did not need to be loud. It carried anyway. Another voice agreed. Then another. Quiet. But growing. Richard's fingers pressed harder against the table surface. The polished wood reflected his hands back at him. Steady on the outside. Less certain underneath. He exhaled slowly. "We will review," he said. The word sounded like a concession. Not a command. Ava stepped back again. Just enough to return to the edge of the room. Where she had started. But something had changed. No one asked her to leave. Not this time. The man with the glasses closed his document fully now. A decision made. At least for the moment. The presentation screen behind them still displayed numbers. Clean projections. Smooth growth. It looked almost unreal now. Like it belonged to a different meeting. Ava glanced at it once. Then away. Her attention returned to the table. To the people. To the contract that had almost been signed. Richard looked at her again. Longer this time. Not dismissing. Not ignoring. Studying. Trying to place something that refused to fit. His eyes dropped briefly to her hand. The ring caught the light again. Clearer now. Not decorative. Not random. Familiar. But he could not place it yet. Not fully. The room settled into a new kind of quiet. Not empty. Waiting. And Richard realized there was something about her he had not questioned yet. Richard did not look away this time. His eyes stayed on Ava's hand longer than before. That ring. Clean. Silver. Not worn like jewelry. Worn like it belonged there. "Where did you get that?" he asked suddenly. The question slipped out before he could stop it. A few people followed his gaze. The room narrowed. Ava glanced down at her hand. Just once. Then back up. "It was issued," she said. Simple. Vague. Not an answer. The woman by the window leaned forward slightly. "Issued by who?" she asked. Ava did not respond right away. Her fingers adjusted the rag again. Same precise motion. Corner to corner. Perfect alignment. It was the kind of detail no one noticed before. Now everyone did. Richard stepped around the table. Slow. Calculated. His shoes clicked against the marble floor. Each step louder than it should have been. He stopped a few feet from her. Close enough to see the engraving. His eyes narrowed. There it was. Faint. But unmistakable. The company crest. Not printed. Etched. Not decorative. Official. His breath slowed. Just slightly. "That ring is not for staff," he said. The words came out low. Controlled. But something underneath had shifted again. Ava held his gaze. "No," she said. Around the table, a few board members exchanged looks. Not confusion. Recognition trying to form. The man with the glasses sat up straighter. "Those are only given to executive partners," he said. His voice carried further than he intended. The room absorbed that. Executive. Partner. Neither word fit the image in front of them. Ava stood there in a simple uniform. Neutral expression. Rag in hand. It did not match. That mismatch grew louder than anything spoken. Richard's eyes moved from the ring to her face again. Searching. Recalculating. "Who are you?" he asked. Not dismissive this time. Direct. Ava inhaled slowly. Not nervous. Measured. You already know what I do here, she said. Another non-answer. But not empty. The woman by the window frowned slightly. That is not what he asked. Silence pressed in again. Ava's gaze shifted toward the long table. Toward the contracts. Toward the people who had almost signed them. Then back to Richard. What I do, she said quietly, is make sure things are clean. A few people almost reacted. Almost smiled. But they did not. Something about the way she said it stopped that. The word clean did not mean the same thing anymore. The man with the document leaned forward again. We need to check ownership records, he said suddenly. That sentence landed like a switch. A different kind of attention filled the room. Not just the contract now. Something bigger. A tablet lit up. Another followed. Fingers moved quickly across screens. Names. Shares. Holdings. The quiet clicking of glass filled the air. Richard did not move. His eyes stayed locked on Ava. You are not on the executive list, he said. It sounded more like a statement than a question. Ava tilted her head slightly again. That same small motion. Lists can change, she replied. A board member near the center of the table froze mid-scroll. His hand stopped moving. His eyes widened just a fraction. Wait, he said. No one answered. He swallowed once. There was a transfer 3 months ago. The room stilled. Every sound dropped out at once. Even the hum of the lights seemed to fade. Majority block, he added. Softer now. Almost to himself. Another board. Member leaned over his shoulder. That cannot be right, she said. But she was already reading it. Her expression shifted. Slowly. Ava stood exactly where she had been. No change in posture. No urgency. Just stillness. The kind that does not need to prove anything. Richard's attention snapped to the man with the tablet. Who acquired it? He asked. The question came faster now. Sharper. The man hesitated. Just a second. Then turned the screen slightly. Not enough for everyone to see. But enough for Richard. His eyes dropped to the name. Stayed there. The air tightened. His jaw flexed once. Then again. He did not speak. Not yet. Around them, the rest of the board leaned in. Trying to read what he saw without asking. Ava's hand lowered slowly to her side. The rag no longer moved. Her reflection in the glass wall behind them stood taller now. Not different. Just clearer. Richard lifted his eyes from the screen. Back to her. Something in his expression had changed. Not anger. Not doubt. Recognition. But incomplete. Like a name on the edge of memory. The man with the tablet cleared his throat softly. It is under a private holding, he said. But the controlling signature, he stopped. The sentence did not finish. It did not need to. Every eye in the room shifted back to Ava at the same time. The words did not land all at once. They spread slowly. Like a crack moving under glass. The man with the tablet swallowed again. His thumb hovered over the screen, as if one more movement might change what he saw. It did not. The controlling signature, he repeated, quieter now. He glanced up. Not at Richard. At Ava. Then back down. It is registered under A. Johnson Holdings. The name sat in the air. Simple. Clean. Too clean. No one spoke. The woman by the window leaned closer. Expand it, she said. Her voice was calm, but it carried weight. The man hesitated for half a second. Then tapped. The screen shifted. Lines of ownership appeared. Percentages. Dates. Transfers. The numbers did not leave room for interpretation. 61%, he said. His voice barely above a whisper. That number changed everything. Chairs did not move, but bodies did. Subtle adjustments. Spine straightening. Eyes sharpening. Richard's gaze did not leave Ava. Not even for the screen. That is not possible, he said. But the words lacked force. Ava did not react. Not to the number. Not to the silence. Her hand lowered fully now. The rag rested still against her leg. Unused. Forgotten. 3 months ago, the man added, almost as if he needed to prove it. Incremental acquisitions through a private structure. Another board member leaned over. That would have required approval. The statement sounded more like a question. No one answered it. Ava's reflection in the glass behind her stood steady. No shift. No tension. The skyline outside had started to dim. Light changing. Time moving. Inside, everything held still. Richard finally turned his head. Slowly. Toward the tablet. His eyes scanned the screen. Line by line. He did not rush. But he did not linger either. His breathing stayed even. Controlled. Too controlled. Who authorized this? He asked. The question did not aim at anyone specific. It hung there. Searching for a place to land. The man with the tablet shook his head once. It was filed within regulatory limits, he said. No direct approval required at this threshold. That answer did not help. It made it worse. The woman by the window stepped closer to the table again. Her heels clicked once. Then stopped. Then we missed it, she said. No accusation. Just fact. A quiet kind of failure. Ava's eyes moved across the room. Not scanning. Observing. Each person. Each reaction. She did not speak. She did not need to. The shift was already happening. Richard set his hand on the back of a chair. Not sitting. Just grounding himself. Johnson, he said under his breath. Testing the name. Turning it over. The man with the glasses looked up again. The signature authority aligns with the controlling block, he said. It is the same name. Another silence followed. But this one felt different. Heavier. Final in a way the others were not. Ava stepped forward. One step. Not toward the table. Just enough to enter the center of their attention. She did not rush. She did not hesitate. Records are public, she said. You just have to look past what you expect. The line echoed something from earlier. But now it carried more weight. The woman by the window exhaled slowly. Almost a release. Why did you not disclose this? She asked. The question was direct. Not hostile. But not soft either. Ava met her gaze. Calm. No one asked, she replied. That answer settled deeper than expected. It was not defensive. It was not aggressive. It was true. And that made it harder to ignore. Richard looked back at her. Fully now. No distance. No dismissal. His expression had changed again. Not confusion anymore. Not denial. Something closer to recognition. But still incomplete. You let this proceed, he said. Not accusing. Trying to understand. Ava's head tilted slightly. That same thoughtful motion. I watched, she said. There is a difference. The man with the tablet shifted in his seat. If she holds controlling interest, he said carefully, then she has final authority on the agreement. The words moved through the room like a quiet wave. Authority. Final. Agreement. They rearranged everything. The woman by the window nodded once. Slow. Accepting what was already clear. Richard's fingers tightened on the chair for a brief second. Then relaxed. He looked at Ava again. Not as staff. Not as an interruption. As something else entirely. Something that had been there the whole time. Then say it, he said. His voice was low now. Controlled. But different. Ava held his gaze. The room held its breath again. Not out of tension. Out of expectation. And for the first time, she did not step back. No one moved when he said it. The air tightened, like the room itself was waiting for her to answer. Ava did not rush. She did not step forward again. She just stood there, steady, her voice quiet but clear. I hold controlling interest, she said. The words did not echo. They settled. Heavy. Final. A chair shifted somewhere behind her. Not loud. But enough. The man with the tablet lowered it slowly, as if the numbers might disappear if he moved too fast. They did not. 61% still sat there, unchanged. Richard's eyes stayed on her. Not blinking. Not questioning. Just absorbing. You are telling me, he said, slower now, that you have the authority to stop this deal. Ava held his gaze. Yes. No hesitation. No emphasis. Just truth. The room adjusted around that word. Authority. It no longer belonged where it used to. The woman by the window crossed her arms again, but this time it looked different. Less defensive. More analytical. Why come in like this, she asked. Why not disclose it properly? Ava glanced at the table. At the contract. At the signatures that were almost there. Because this is how you see things, she said. A small pause. When you think no one is watching. The words did not accuse. They revealed. A few people looked down. Not at her. At the table. At their own hands. Richard exhaled slowly. His shoulders lowered just slightly. This is not procedure, he said. But it sounded weaker now. Less certain. Ava's fingers relaxed at her side. The rag slipped a fraction lower. Neither is signing a contract you did not fully read, she replied. That landed harder than anything before. The man with the glasses looked away first. Then another. Silence followed. But it was no longer empty. It carried weight. The weight of almost. Richard walked back to the table. Not fast. Not slow. Measured. He picked up the contract again. His eyes moved across the page with more care now. Slower. More deliberate. He stopped at the clause. The same place as before. But this time, he did not look away. We would have missed this, he said. Not to her. To the room. No one disagreed. Ava did not respond. She did not need to. The truth was already there. The woman by the window leaned forward. Then the question is not whether she has authority, she said. The question is what she intends to do with it. That shifted the focus again. From past to future. From mistake to consequence. All eyes returned to Ava. Not curious. Not dismissive. Waiting. Ava looked at each of them. One by one. Not judging. Not avoiding. Just seeing. The room felt smaller now. Tighter. Every breath louder. You built a system, she said. One that rewards speed over clarity. A pause. That makes people comfortable missing details. The words were calm. But they cut deeper than volume ever could. Richard set the contract down again. This time, carefully. Aligned with the edge of the table. And you let it continue, he said. Ava nodded once. I needed to see how far it would go. That answer sat differently. It was not defensive. It was deliberate. The man with the tablet shifted again. You could have stopped this earlier, he said. Ava's gaze moved to him. Yes. Another simple truth. No explanation. That made it heavier. The woman by the window straightened. So why now? Ava looked at the contract again. Then at Richard. Because now you see it, she said. The room absorbed that. Not fully. Not yet. But enough. Richard's jaw tightened once more. Not in anger. In recognition. Something inside him adjusting. And if we had not, he asked. The question hung there. Open. Uncomfortable. Ava did not answer right away. She let the silence stretch. Just long enough. Then you would have signed, she said. And learned it later. A quiet chill moved through the room. Subtle. Real. No one spoke. No one needed to. The weight of that possibility filled every space. Richard looked at the contract again. Then at her. His voice came lower this time. And what would you have done then? Ava's eyes held his. Steady. Unshaken. Exactly what I am doing now, she said. The answer did not explain itself. It did not need to. The room stayed still. Waiting for what that meant. Waiting for what came next. And no one realized yet that she had already decided. The room did not relax. It leaned in. Every eye stayed on Ava, waiting for her next move. She did not move at first. She let the silence settle deeper, like dust finding its place. Then she reached forward. Not to the contract. To the screen behind the table. Her fingers brushed the remote left near the edge. A small click. The slide changed. Numbers disappeared. A new document appeared. Dense. Marked. Annotated. Someone inhaled sharply. What is that? The man with the glasses asked. Ava stepped slightly to the side so they could all see. The same contract, she said. Unedited. The word landed heavier than expected. Unedited meant something had been altered. The woman by the window leaned closer. Her arms lowered now. Show us, she said. Ava nodded once. She did not rush. She pointed to the same clause. Page 47. But now it was different. The language stood out. Highlighted. Redlined. Impossible to ignore. This is the original version, Ava said. Her voice stayed calm. Even. Before revisions. A quiet ripple moved through the room again. The man with the tablet tapped his screen quickly. Comparing. Cross-checking. His brow tightened. They removed the trigger language, he said. But left the exposure intact. Another board member leaned in. So it looks safer than it is. Ava glanced at him. Exactly. The word settled. Clean. Final. Richard stepped closer to the screen. His reflection overlapped with the text. He studied the differences. Line by line. The more he looked, the quieter he became. This was intentional, he said under his breath. Not a question. A realization. Ava did not respond. She did not need to. The proof was already there. The woman by the window turned slowly. Who handled revisions? She asked. The question moved across the table like a spotlight. No one answered immediately. A few eyes shifted. One name hovered without being spoken. The man with the glasses cleared his throat. External counsel submitted the final draft, he said. His voice sounded less certain now. Ava pressed the remote again. Another slide appeared. Email threads. Time stamps. Attachments. Cleanly organized. Too clean to be accidental. Version history, she said. A pause. Nothing disappears. That line stayed in the air. The man with the tablet leaned forward again. These edits were done in stages, he said. Small enough not to trigger review. The woman by the window exhaled slowly. Layered risk, she murmured. Ava nodded once. Designed to pass inspection. The phrase hit harder than it sounded. Designed meant planned. Planned meant someone knew exactly what they were doing. Richard turned from the screen. Back to Ava. His expression had shifted again. Not defensive. Not uncertain. Focused. How long have you had this? He asked. Ava met his gaze. Long enough. Another non-answer. But not empty. It carried weight. The room felt smaller again. Not physically. But mentally. Every assumption pressed inward. The man with the glasses removed them briefly. Wiped them. Bought himself a second to think. We trusted the review process, he said. Ava's eyes moved to him. You trusted the summary, she corrected. That distinction landed quietly. But it stayed. The woman by the window nodded once. We relied on speed, she said. Ava did not respond. She did not need to confirm what was already clear. Richard looked back at the contract on the table. Then at the screen. Then at Ava. You could have brought this to us directly, he said. The sentence sounded softer now. Less like criticism. More like something else. Ava tilted her head slightly. That same small motion. Would it have been heard? She asked. No one answered. Not immediately. The question did not accuse. It revealed. The silence that followed was different. Not tense. Honest. The man with the tablet lowered his device completely now. His shoulders dropped. Probably not, he said quietly. That admission changed the tone of the room. It stripped something away. Something they had been holding on to. Richard exhaled again. Slower this time. So you waited, he said. Ava nodded once. I observed, she corrected. Another small shift. But it mattered. The woman by the window stepped closer to the head of the table. Not taking the seat. Just standing near it. And now? She asked. Ava looked at the contract. Then at each person again. One by one. Measuring. Not judging. Just seeing. Now you decide what to do with the truth, she said. The words settled deeper than anything before. The room did not react right away. It absorbed. It processed. It adjusted. Richard's hand rested on the table again. But this time, it did not press down. It stayed light. Uncertain. He looked at Ava once more. Fully. And if we choose wrong? He asked. Ava's eyes held his. Steady. Unmoved. Then it will not be the contract that fails you, she said. The answer lingered. Quiet. Heavy. And no one was ready for what that actually meant. No one spoke after that. Not right away. The weight of her words stayed in the room, pressing against every surface. The city outside dimmed further, lights beginning to flicker on one by one. Inside, The glow from the screen painted sharp edges across their faces. Richard did not look at the screen this time. He looked at the people around him. One by one. Measuring something he had not questioned before. "We are not signing this," he said finally. The statement was firm, but it did not carry the same authority it once did. It felt shared now. Not owned. A few heads nodded. Not quickly. Not confidently. But enough. The man with the glasses leaned back, exhaling slowly. "That is the right call," he said. The woman by the window did not sit. She stayed standing, arms relaxed now. "It is the only call," she added. Ava watched them. Quiet. Still. She did not step forward. She did not claim anything. That made it more noticeable. Richard reached for the contract again. This time, not to read. To close it. The sound of paper folding echoed louder than expected. Final. But not complete. He set it aside. Slightly away from the center of the table. Like it no longer belonged there. Ava's eyes followed the movement for a moment. Then lifted. "That solves one problem," she said. A small pause. Not the bigger one. The room tightened again. Just when it had started to release. The man with the tablet looked up. "What bigger one?" he asked. Ava glanced at the screen behind them. The version history still displayed. Emails. Edits. Time stamps. Patterns. "This was not random," she said. "It was designed." The woman by the window nodded slowly. "Which means someone approved it," she said. Ava did not respond. Her silence confirmed more than words could. Richard's jaw tightened again. But this time, it was different. Focused. Controlled. "We will investigate," he said. Ava tilted her head slightly. That same small motion. "You should," she replied. The tone was neutral. But it carried something deeper. The man with the glasses leaned forward again. "If this passed through review," he said, "then the process itself is compromised." The word compromised hung in the air. Heavy. Uncomfortable. Another board member spoke up, quieter than before. Or someone wanted it to pass. That thought shifted everything again. Not just a flaw. Intent. Ava stepped closer to the table. Not to take a position. Just enough to be seen clearly. "Systems do not fail on their own," she said. A pause. "People decide what they overlook." The sentence landed clean. No excess. The room absorbed it slowly. The man with the tablet looked down at his screen again. "The edits were signed off by internal review before final submission," he said. His voice carried a new tension now. The woman by the window turned sharply. "Who signed off?" she asked. He hesitated. Just a second. Then tapped again. The name appeared. Small. Almost insignificant on the screen. But it changed everything. He looked up. Not speaking it yet. The room felt it before it was said. Richard's eyes narrowed. "Say it," he said. The man swallowed. "It came through executive clearance," he replied. The words landed heavier than expected. Executive meant someone in this room. Or close enough. A silence followed. Not empty. Accusing without pointing. Ava watched them. Not judging. Just present. The reflection behind her showed the same stillness. Unmoved. The woman by the window crossed her arms again. But this time, it looked like protection. Not posture. "We need to audit everything," she said. Richard nodded once. Slow. "We will," he said. Ava's eyes moved across the room again. Taking it in. Every reaction. Every shift. Then she looked back at the contract on the table. Closed. But not forgotten. Be careful, she said. The words were soft. But they cut through everything else. Richard looked at her again. Careful of what? He asked. Ava's gaze held his. Steady. Of what you think you already understand, she replied. The answer lingered. Quiet. Deep. The man with the glasses leaned back again. Slower this time. We thought we understood this deal, he said. Ava did not respond. The truth was already clear. The woman by the window glanced once more at the screen. At the edits. The patterns. The intent. Then back at Ava. You saw this before any of us, she said. Ava nodded once. Yes. No explanation. No justification. Just fact. Richard exhaled again. Longer this time. His shoulders lowered. Not defeated. Adjusting. Then there is something else, he said. Ava did not answer. But her stillness shifted. Slightly. Enough to be noticed. Richard's eyes narrowed again. Not in suspicion. In recognition. You did not step in just to stop this contract, he said. Ava held his gaze. Silent. The room leaned in again. Waiting. And this time, the question was not about the deal anymore. Richard's words did not fade. They stayed in the air, sharp and unfinished. Ava did not look away. She let the silence stretch just enough to make everyone feel it. Then she took one slow step toward the table. Not to claim it. Just closer. No, she said. The answer was simple. But it carried weight. The room tightened again. The woman by the window tilted her head slightly. Then why? She asked. Ava's eyes moved across the faces in the room. One by one. Measuring. Not accusing. Just seeing. Because this was not the only thing being overlooked, she said. A pause followed. Short. But enough. The man with the tablet frowned. What does that mean? He asked. Ava did not answer immediately. She reached toward the table. Not for the contract. For a folder sitting near the edge. Thin. Plain. Easy to ignore. She lifted it. Light. Almost empty. But it was not. She placed it at the center of the table. No sound. Just presence. Every eye shifted to it. Richard glanced down. Then back at her. What is that? He asked. Ava rested her hand lightly on the folder. Something you approved last quarter, she said. The sentence landed differently. Not about today. About before. The man with the glasses leaned forward again. We approve dozens of items each quarter, he said. Ava nodded once. That is the problem. The words settled deeper than expected. The woman by the window stepped closer. Her eyes stayed on the folder. Open it, she said. Ava did not move. Not yet. You should, she replied. The shift was subtle. But clear. Authority did not need to raise its voice. Richard reached out. His hand paused just above the folder. A small hesitation. Then he opened it. Inside, a single sheet. Clean. Structured. Too simple. He scanned it quickly. Then slower. His brow tightened. This is a vendor authorization, he said. Ava watched him. Read the second line, she said. The same instruction. Different context. The room leaned in again. The pattern felt familiar now. Richard's eyes moved down. He stopped. His grip on the paper changed. Slight. But visible. This redirects service contracts, he said. The man with the tablet leaned closer. To an external entity, he added. Ava nodded. A newly formed entity, she said. The woman by the window crossed her arms again. Who owns it? She asked. Ava did not answer. Not yet. Richard flipped the page. There was no second page. Just that one sheet. Too clean. Too controlled. This was bundled under routine approvals, he said. Ava tilted her head slightly. That same motion. Routine hides detail, she replied. The man with the glasses adjusted his posture again. This could divert millions, he said quietly. Ava's gaze moved to him. Over time, she added. A small clarification. But it made it worse. The room felt smaller again. The air thicker. Richard set the paper down. Careful. Deliberate. Who flagged this? He asked. Ava did not respond. The silence answered for her. No one had. That was the point. The woman by the window exhaled slowly. This passed through the same process, she said. Ava nodded. The same habits, she corrected. Another small shift. But it mattered. The man with the tablet looked back at his screen. Typing faster now. Searching. Connecting. The entity was registered 2 weeks before approval, he said. Minimal history. The woman by the window glanced at Richard. And we signed off without question, she said. Ava watched them. Still. Unmoved. Not satisfied. Just present. Richard looked back at the folder. Then at the contract. 2 separate items. Same pattern. This is not isolated, he said. Ava held his gaze. No, the word stayed. Final. The man with the glasses leaned back again. Slower this time. How many? He asked. Ava did not answer immediately. She let the question sit. Then she looked at the table. At the documents. At the people. Enough, she said. Not a number. But it was worse than one. The woman by the window turned away briefly. Processing. Then back. This requires a full review, she said. Richard nodded once. But his eyes stayed on Ava. You have more, he said. Not a question. Ava did not deny it. She did not confirm it either. Her hand lifted from the folder. Slow. Controlled. I have what you did not look for, she said. The words settled quietly. But they did not leave. The room held still again. Waiting. Not for proof. For direction. And for the first time, Richard realized this was not just about what they missed, but about what she had been preparing to show next. The room did not ask for numbers again. They understood now. Enough meant damage. Ava let the silence hold for a moment longer, then reached into the side pocket of her cleaning cart. It rolled closer than anyone remembered. Quiet wheels. No one had noticed it enter. She pulled out a thin stack of folders. Not thick. Not dramatic. Just enough to matter. She set them beside the first one. Perfectly aligned. Edges clean. The sound was soft, but it carried. These follow the same pattern, she said. No emphasis. No need. The man with the tablet leaned forward again. Faster this time. He picked up the top folder. Opened it. His eyes moved quickly, then slowed. Deferred maintenance contracts, he said. Outsourced to a shell vendor. The woman by the window stepped closer. Timeline? She asked. He scanned the page. Approved 6 weeks ago. Ava nodded once. Bundled under operational updates. The phrase landed with a familiar weight. The man with the glasses reached for the next folder. His fingers trembled just slightly. He opened it. Consulting retainer, he read. Automatic renewal. Escalating fee schedule. He paused. No cap. A quiet breath moved through the room. Ava's gaze moved across them. Measuring reactions. No satisfaction. Just confirmation. Richard did not pick up a folder. Not yet. He watched them read. Watched the pattern reveal itself. Who signed these? He asked. The man with the tablet checked quickly. Executive clearance, he said. Same answer. Different document. The repetition felt heavier now. The woman by the window looked at Ava. All of them? Ava did not answer directly. She pressed the remote again. The screen changed. A grid appeared. Rows and columns. Dates. Departments. Approval paths. It looked simple. It was not. Trend mapping, she said. Small approvals. Same path. Same outcome. The man with the glasses looked up from his folder. Diversion, he said quietly. Ava nodded. Distributed, she added. The word clarified the scale. Not one hit. Many small ones. Harder to see. Easier to ignore. Richard stepped forward at last. He picked up the third folder. Opened it. Read. His eyes paused. Insurance rider, he said. Secondary beneficiary added. He looked up. Not disclosed. Ava held his gaze. Buried in addendum language, she said. He flipped the page. There was nothing else. Just that one line. Hidden in plain sight. He closed the folder slowly. Set it down beside the others. The stack formed a neat line. Too neat. The woman by the window walked to the head of the table. She did not sit. She looked at the screen. Then at the folders. Then at Ava. This is systemic, she said. Ava did not respond. The proof spoke for itself. The man with the tablet typed again. Faster. Entities cross-reference, he said. Same registration agent. Different names. He stopped. Looked up. They connect. A quiet shift moved through the room. Pieces aligning. Not comfortable. Not clean. Real. Richard's hand rested on the table again. This time, it stayed there. Grounded. How much exposure? He asked. No one answered immediately. The man with the glasses did quick math on a notepad. Numbers stacked. He stopped. Looked up. If this continues for a year, he said, we are looking at 8 figures. The number did not echo. It settled. Heavy. Ava's eyes moved to Richard. Not pressing. Just present. The woman by the window exhaled slowly. We shut this down now, she said. Richard nodded once. Effective immediately, he said. The words carried authority again. But it was different now. Shared. Earned. Ava did not move. She watched the decision land. Then she shook her head once. Small. But clear. The room stilled again. That is not enough, she said. The sentence cut through everything. The man with the tablet looked up. What do you mean? He asked. Ava glanced at the screen. Then at the folders. Then back to them. Stopping the flow does not. Recover what is already gone, she said. The truth settled deeper than any number. Richard's jaw tightened. Not in anger. In focus. Then we trace it, he said. Ava tilted her head slightly. You can try, she replied. The word try carried more weight than it should have. The woman by the window narrowed her eyes. You already traced it, she said. Not a question. Ava did not deny it. She reached back into the cart. Pulled out one final envelope. Thicker. Sealed. Different from the others. She placed it at the center of the table. No sound. Just presence. Every eye shifted to it at once. The room leaned in without moving. Richard looked at the envelope. Then at Ava. What is this? He asked. Ava met his gaze. Calm. Unmoved. Where it leads, she said. The word settled. Quiet. Heavy. And no one in the room was ready for the name inside. No one reached for the envelope at first. It sat at the center of the table like it did not belong to any of them. Thick. Sealed. Final. Richard looked at it longer than he had looked at anything else that day. Then his hand moved. Slow. Measured. He did not rush. His fingers pressed against the edge, then lifted it slightly. He felt the weight. Real. Not symbolic. The room leaned in without sound. Ava did not move. She watched him. Not tense. Not expectant. Certain. Richard turned the envelope once. No label on the front. Nothing to guide him. That was the point. Who has seen this? He asked. His voice was low. Controlled. Ava held his gaze. No one here, she said. The answer settled. Isolated. The woman by the window stepped closer. Then open it, she said. No hesitation. Richard did not respond. Not right away. His thumb slid under the seal. He paused for a fraction of a second. Then broke it. The sound was small. But it cut through the room. He pulled out a set of documents. More than one. Stapled. Organized. He scanned the first page. His eyes slowed almost immediately. A small shift in his posture. Subtle. But visible. The man with the tablet leaned forward. What is it? He asked. Richard did not answer. Not yet. His eyes moved line by line. Then he flipped the page. Faster now. Then stopped again. The woman by the window stepped closer. Richard, she said. Not a question. A warning. He lifted his eyes. Just briefly. Then back down. These transfers, he said. His voice had changed. Quieter. Tighter. They do not stop at the vendor layer. Ava watched him. Still. The room held its breath again. The man with the glasses leaned forward. Where do they go? He asked. Richard flipped another page. His fingers were steady. But slower now. Careful. They route through intermediary accounts, he said. Then consolidate. A pause. Short. But heavy. Into a single holding. The words landed deeper than expected. The woman by the window narrowed her eyes. Whose? She asked. Richard did not answer immediately. His gaze stayed on the page. The name was there. Clear. Unavoidable. But he did not say it. Not yet. The man with the tablet shifted in his seat. We need to see that, he said. Richard hesitated. Just a second. Then turned the document slightly. Enough for the closest to read. Not enough for the whole room. The man with the tablet leaned in. His eyes moved quickly. Then slowed. Then stopped. His expression changed. Small. But unmistakable. That cannot be right, he said under his breath. The woman by the window stepped in closer. She read over his shoulder. Her posture stiffened. Her arms dropped to her sides. No defense left. Just focus. Ava did not move. She did not need to see it. She already knew. The man with the glasses leaned forward again. "Who is it?" he asked. The question came sharper now. Urgent. Richard lifted his eyes slowly. Not to the room. To Ava. "You knew," he said. Not a question. A realization. Ava met his gaze. Yes. No hesitation. No softness. Just truth. The room tightened again. But differently this time. Not confusion. Recognition building. The woman by the window straightened. "Say it," she said. Her voice was calm. But firm. Richard looked back at the document. The name did not change. It did not hide. He exhaled slowly. "It routes to a private holding linked to executive clearance," he said. The words were careful. Controlled. But incomplete. The man with the tablet shook his head once. "That is not enough," he said. "Whose clearance?" Silence. Followed. Heavy. Expectant. Richard's fingers tightened on the page for just a moment. Then released. He looked up again. This time at the room. Not avoiding. Not deflecting. Just facing it. "The authorization chain points back to internal leadership," he said. The words landed. Hard. Not loud. But final. The woman by the window closed her eyes briefly. Then opened them. Focused again. "Which means this was not external," she said. Ava's eyes moved across them. One by one. Letting the realization settle. The man with the glasses leaned back slowly. "It was approved from within," he said. Ava nodded once. "Yes." The word stayed. Heavy. The room did not react right away. It processed. It shifted. It adjusted to something deeper than a bad contract. Richard looked at the document again. Then at Ava. His voice came quieter now. "How far does it go?" Ava held his gaze. Steady. Unmoved. "Far enough," she said. The answer did not give them relief. It took it away. The envelope still lay open on the table. The documents inside no longer hidden. No longer deniable. And no one in the room was ready for what the next page revealed. Richard did not turn the next page right away. His fingers rested on the corner, still, like he already knew what waited underneath. The room felt tighter now. Not from silence, but from understanding. Ava did not look at the documents. She looked at them. All of them. Watching how they held it. Or failed to. "Go on," the woman by the window said. Her voice was quieter now, but sharper. Richard flipped the page. Slow. Deliberate. The paper made a soft sound as it turned. Too loud for such a small motion. His eyes dropped to the bottom section first. Signatures. Authorization trails. Cross-referenced approvals. His breath shifted. Just slightly. Enough to notice. The man with the tablet leaned forward again. "What does it say?" he asked. Richard did not answer immediately. His gaze stayed fixed on the name. Not scanning. Stopping. The woman by the window stepped closer. Close enough to read. Her eyes followed the same line. Then froze. A pause. Short. But absolute. That is not possible, she said. But her voice did not carry conviction. It carried recognition. Ava remained still. Her posture unchanged. Her hands at her sides. The rag no longer mattered. The man with the glasses leaned forward, slower this time. He adjusted his position carefully, like moving too fast might break something fragile. "Let me see," he said. Richard turned the page slightly. Not enough to hide it. Not enough to soften it. The man's eyes moved across the text. Then stopped. He leaned back. Quietly. "It is internal," he said. The same words as before. But now they meant something else. The room absorbed it again. But deeper this time. The man with the tablet shook his head once. "No," he said. "Not just internal." He pointed at the line. "That is executive override clearance." The phrase settled like weight. Executive override meant bypass. It meant control without question. It meant trust, misplaced. Ava's eyes shifted briefly to Richard. Not accusing. Not confirming. Just present. The woman by the window straightened slowly. "That requires a direct sign-off," she said. "Not delegated." The man with the glasses nodded. "It comes from the top," he added. No one needed to define what that meant. The room already knew. Richard did not move. His eyes stayed on the page. Then slowly lifted. Not to Ava. To the room. "This clearance path," he said, then stopped. The words did not finish. They did not need to. The man with the tablet swallowed. "It routes through your office," he said. The air shifted again. Sharper. More precise. The statement did not accuse. It pointed. The woman by the window looked at Richard. Not surprised. Not defensive. Just waiting. Richard's expression did not collapse. It did not rise. It held. Controlled. But something inside it moved. Something subtle. "My office signs dozens of approvals," he said. His voice remained even. But thinner. Ava watched him. Closely now. Not judging. Measuring. The man with the glasses leaned forward again. "This is not a routine approval," he said. "This is an override." Richard did not respond. Not immediately. His eyes moved back to the page. Then to the previous one. Then to the pattern across them. A line forming. Not isolated. Not accidental. Ava took one small step closer. Just enough to be heard without raising her voice. "Patterns do not lie," she said. The sentence landed softly. But it did not leave. The man with the tablet looked down again. Cross-checking. Connecting. His fingers moved faster now. "The timing aligns," he said. "Every transfer, every approval, every revision." He looked up. "It follows the same chain." The woman by the window exhaled slowly. "Then this is not a breach," she said. Ava's eyes met hers. "No," she replied. A pause. "Just enough. It is a design." The word settled. Final. The room did not resist it. It could not. Richard placed the document back on the table. Not carefully this time. Not roughly either. Just done. His hand remained there. Resting on the paper. As if holding it down might hold the truth in place. Ava watched him. Not pressing. Not retreating. Present. The man with the glasses leaned back again. Slower than before. Then the question is not where it leads, he said. It is who allowed it to exist. No one answered. Not yet. The room did not need an answer. It needed acknowledgement. Richard lifted his hand from the document. Finally. His eyes moved to Ava. Direct. No distance now. You waited for this moment, he said. Ava held his gaze. I waited for you to see it, she replied. The distinction settled between them. Clear. Unavoidable. The woman by the window looked from one to the other. Something shifted in her expression. Not doubt. Not shock. Something closer to understanding. Then this does not end here, she said. Ava did not answer. Her silence said enough. The documents remained on the table. Open. Exposed. The patterns no longer hidden. And for the first time, no one in the room could pretend they did not recognize the name that kept appearing. No one spoke the name out loud. They did not need to. It was already in the room, sitting between them, heavier than any document on the table. Richard stood still, his hand no longer touching the paper. His posture had changed. Not defensive. Not commanding. Just still. The woman by the window watched him closely. Not accusing. Not protecting. Waiting. Ava did not move. She let the silence do what words could not. The city lights outside had fully taken over now. Reflections covered the glass walls, blending faces with shadows. Inside, nothing felt clear anymore except the truth on the table. Richard exhaled slowly. The sound was quiet, but it carried. This clearance chain, he said, then stopped. His eyes moved across the documents again. The same pattern. The same path. The same access point. It could not have happened without direct authorization, the man with the glasses added. His voice was careful now. Not loud. Not weak. Just precise. The woman by the window nodded once. And that authorization came from the highest level, she said. No one disagreed. No one questioned it. Ava's gaze stayed on Richard. Not pushing. Not softening. Present. He looked back at her. Fully now. No distance left. You knew where this would lead, he said. Ava held his gaze. Yes. No hesitation. The word settled between them. Final. The man with the tablet lowered his device completely. It no longer mattered. The data had already spoken. Then this is not a failure of process, he said. It is a failure of leadership. The sentence landed harder than anything before. It did not echo. It stayed. Richard did not react immediately. His eyes moved once more across the room. Every face. Every reaction. No one looked away this time. The weight was shared now. Not avoided. He reached for the chair at the head of the table. The one he had stood beside for years. His fingers touched the backrest. Then stopped. He did not sit. That small hesitation did not go unnoticed. Ava watched it. Quiet. The woman by the window stepped closer to the table. We need to address this directly, she said. No deflection. No delay. Her voice carried authority now. Shared authority. Richard nodded once. Slow. Accepting. We will, he said. But the words sounded different. Not like a promise. Like a recognition. Ava's eyes shifted to the documents again. Then back to him. You already know what needs to be done, she said. The sentence was calm. But it carried weight. Richard looked at her. Something in his expression softened. Not weakness. Clarity. And if I do not, he asked. The question was quiet. Real. Ava did not look away. Then this continues, she said. A pause. With or without you. The room absorbed that. Not as a threat. As a fact. The man with the glasses leaned back again. Slower now. We cannot allow that, he said. The woman by the window nodded. We will not, she added. Richard looked at the chair again. Then at the documents. Then at Ava. The pieces had aligned. Not comfortably. But completely. He straightened slightly. A small shift. But enough. Then we act, he said. This time, the words carried something different. Not control. Responsibility. Ava watched him. Measuring. Not reacting. Just seeing. The silence that followed was not empty. It was steady. Settled. The kind that comes after something breaks and reforms into something else. Richard's gaze moved to the contract that had started it all. Still closed. Still set aside. He did not reach for it. Not anymore. Ava's hand lifted slightly. Not toward the table. Toward the cart. She picked up the folded rag. Held it for a second. Then placed it down again. On the table. Right in front of him. Clean. Aligned. Intentional. Richard looked at it. Then up at her. No words passed between them. None were needed. The message was already clear. The room did not move. Not yet. But something had shifted. Quietly. Permanently. Ava turned slightly. Not leaving. Not staying in the same place either. Just enough to change the angle of everything. The lights reflected differently now. On the glass. On the table. On the faces around it. Richard finally stepped back from the head of the table. One step. Small. But undeniable. And for the first time, no one in the room could ignore what that step meant.